Managing the rent-to-rent workflow from lead to completion. This is the final tutorial in the rent-to-rent series. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the rent project workflow, show the rental viewing list, the rent project screen, the patch screen and the rent projects tab under the patch screen, and then we're going to summarize the rent-to-rent project features. So let's get started. We're going to start with the rent project workflow. So once you log in to Evernetproperties.com, you click Tools, and then we can select My Projects. Select the patch that you were using before. I've got a lot on this one. You'll probably just have the one that you created previously. So in my case, it's London. And then on this screen, you can see there's different tabs at the top here, and I'm going to click Rent Projects. So this shows the rent projects, and you'll recognize these from the previous tutorials that we put in the leads. So we've got one lead and we've got two with viewing arranged. So I'm going to use this button, Pick From Workflow. So this now shows the rent project workflow. So if I zoom out, so I can use the scroll wheel to zoom and the mouse to click and move it around. You can see the different stages that we're going to put the project through in our pipeline. So you'll recognize the first few stages. The first stage is lead, and so remember in the previous tutorial we added leads to the system, and then we have viewing arranged. So these are the projects which we phoned up the landlord and we arranged the viewing. Then we continue that. So once we have arranged the viewing, then we're going to do some due diligence on the project, and then we're going to move it to ready to view. And then we're going to have the, once we've actually viewed it, we move it to the viewed stage. It might not be viable, so we can put it to not viable. And then we have now negotiation stage, failed negotiation, and a complete stage. With each of these items here, you can click on them. If you click, it sets the filters on the rent project so you can see just that stage. So here I've clicked viewing arrange. So if I click stages here, you can see just viewing arranged stage is selected. If I go to pick from workflow, if I go to lead, then you can see the leads are selected. So once you have your viewings arranged with the landlords, you want to be able to see the viewings. So this is what the rental viewing list view is for. So to get there, click Tools, and then you can click Rental Projects. And if you go here to the last menu item, you've got Show Rental Viewing List. You click there, and this shows you the rental viewings that you have arranged. Now, it's shown by patches. So at the moment on this system, there's only one patch where I have viewings arranged. So that's London. If there was multiple patches, then I can either show from just that one patch, or I can show all patches. So I'm going to click under London. I'm going to click Show. And here you can see the patches, the viewings that we have arranged. So now you've got the proper, sorry, move my mouse. You've got the proper address here, and you've got the time, the viewing. If you click the I button here, it's going to take you to the actual rent project view, which I'll talk more about later. So I'm just going to go back. So to go back, click back. You've got add to calendar. So add to calendar is useful because this will add the viewing to your calendar. So I use Google Calendar, so I'm going to select Google. And you can see it adds it to Google. You've got the viewing, it's got the address here, it's got the time that you've scheduled the viewing, it sets the location for you, and it gives you a little bit of information that you've got from the viewing, actually in the description of the calendar appointment. This is useful when you're on the road. You can also got a link there where if you've got the Evernetproperties app on your phone, you're able to click there and you can bring the full information up. So the final thing to say about this view, I've already shown about the I button, is the patch button. And so if you click here, that's going to go to the patch view that we saw previously. So we can get to the rent project screen in a number of ways. I'm going to show you going from the rental view. So go back to Tools, click Rental Projects and click Show Rental Viewing List. I'm going to click London, and then I'm going to click this I button here. So let's have a look at the Forest Hill project. So this is the rental project view. If you've used Property Pipeline Builder for the purchase projects, you'll recognise the screens look similar. You've got a few sections to the screen. This top section here with the buttons, they're the action buttons. So we've got save, so we're not able to save at the moment. If I change it, you see it can save. It does auto save though. Let's change that back. You've got research and add to do. So these are actions. So research, I can add some notes for research and add to do in the same way. The next section here, we've got tabs. So there are 2 tabs at the moment. So you've got main and project. And I want to go through both the tabs. And finally, you've got cards. So this section here, lead information, that's all the lead information card. And you'll recognise this. This is what we typed in when we entered the lead. You can see you've got the advert link, so I can click on that. So we click there. You've got, and the advert was a spare room advert. So you can see that's the advert that we were originally responding to when we looked at the lead. And here with the next card is call for viewing. So this is where we've got the schedule time. We've also got an add to calendar button here in case you hadn't added it previously. And there's also a location card. On the project tab, you can see we've got some more cards. We've got the rent project workflow, and so this is the same as in the purchase projects mode, and we can move to the next stage. So at the moment we've got viewing arranged. So when we've got to the point where we progressed this project and we've gone to the viewing, we will go to the next stage, which is ready to view. So once we've done our due diligence, we can click that stage. And then if we want to move this to cancel viewing, we click that button there. That navigates it through the workflow which we had in the previous tutorial. Sorry, the previous chapter. We've got to-do items, so we've got a to-do manager for this particular project. So I've got find distance to the station, and we can click tick if that to-do item is complete. And then activity log, this will log down all the activities that we have on this project. Next, I'm going to show you the patch screen and the rent projects. So to get there, if we click Tools, we can go to My Projects and then select the patch. So I'm going to find the London patch, which is what I'm using for these tutorials. And the Rent Projects patch screen can be accessed by clicking this Rent Project tab here. Now, you'll notice I've got some filters set, so I'm going to click this X here to clear the filter. So you'll notice I've got some rent projects here. I can click, so let's go back to the Forest Hill one, and then we show the project. Another way to get back to the patch screen is here under lead information, you've got London. I can click here and that will take me back to the patch screen. One thing to note for the patch screen is we've got these filters. So we can filter for a particular stage. At the moment we can got everything shown. Select none. We can just select lead and that will only show leads, or we can select all of them. We can filter by agents, so we don't have any agents filled in here, but when we did, the agents will appear. And we can filter by sources, so I can see all my projects that came from spare room. And finally, we have these buttons at the bottom: add lead, call leads, show viewings. These are friendly links which will take us to the same options as we have for the main screen. So the call leads, so if we've got this lead here, we can go here and that will go straight to call leads. That's equivalent to rental projects here. We've got enter, call and show rental viewings. And that's a summary of the rent projects screen. So that concludes the rent to rent feature set of tutorials. Hopefully you have found it useful. I think the critical feature to success is looking at a lot of projects and making a lot of calls. So hopefully the dynamic scripting tool will be something that really helps you make those calls, and also keep track of the projects once you've made the calls, tracking down the viewings and doing the calculations. Be sure to keep an eye on the site as I add more features. Thanks for watching.